bing, bing, bing. We're live. It's Michael, and I'm saying I think we must look at some local support stuff. I must reply to Rachel.
So then potentially if we had that set up, all we would need in the Agile bot is just information about, well, in the first instance, information about the, the pairing and Scrum channels.
Yes, indeed. That's right. I mean, yeah, it would be nice to like remove the configuration. Anyway, I think that's yeah. We'll come back around to the Agile bot.
You could. Hello.
Hello. Yeah.
Oh, I thought I lost you. You could just send the ID in the request. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, the other. I was thinking it could also just do, that we have the slug match we can have convention over configuration, and that we have the slug should match the project name, the project channel in Slack. Anyway, what I want to do now is I feel like is it I don't know, working on a project, one should start off with a review of the project board. So Marcella just submitted a pull request on that, which is one we're going to be reviewing. Okay, this one, Lara is working on this, and I think this one I've asked her. Yeah, it's been merged and the feature completed. So this, I don't know if it's been delivered. Then I'll check the vote. So we've got Marowen is working on this remove. Okay, yes. This one. I'm not even sure about that one. This one, Norm has done the pull request on that we just refactored this morning. I have removed Hound, I believe, because I just got sick of it. So that's done. And right, this is the one that Anar is working on. Okay, so actually the project board is not in bad shape. These are all here. I guess while I'm thinking about it, we've got this bot standing by that could be doing voting. Why don't we look? So John had this. He was saying, "Oh, hello, Norm."
Hi, Sam.
And this is the one that
just a second.
Okay, so actually, you're watching us in parallel with also joining the Hangout.
Yeah. Sorry about that.
No problem.
I figured I'd just join you guys real quick.
Sure.
I don't know if you saw I posted on the GitHub regarding that the code review you guys did.
And
I just saw that you went over it quickly on Pivotal Tracker, so I figured I'd jump in quick.
Sure.
I think it didn't pass because of that line of code you pulled out of the application layout page. That line of code is currently how titles are rendered on the static air pages. So like if it's air.
Okay. Right. Although it's failing here on what is this? This is like an organization controller spec, which is something separate yet again, and it's not actually getting to the cucumbers. We might not unreasonably ask if all those things are pausing. Yeah, Lara mentioned that they were related to that, although I thought I also saw another place where, we removed that from here. Yeah, it seemed to me though that this, like, if we've got display meta tags there, that I guess no, it's different. Yeah, the display meta tags. But so what I guess I don't know is that, like, if this set meta tags. If we call set meta tags more than once, does it kind of, like, here we're only setting the title,
right?
does that remove all of the other things, or does it just happen to only overwrite the title if we call it more than once?
Right. It does only overwrite the title. I'm not saying that that's the best solution.
Mm-hmm.
Prior to that, the way it worked was in the layout ERB file, they just put in basically another HTML line of code. So they had a second title tag. So what was happening was all of the pages actually had
two titles,
two title tags, and they would
right.
basically, I think like when you would look at it in debugger to kind of do like page.title, it would concatenate those two together and present it as one title.
Right.
But I don't think that's what you wanted. So I removed the other one.
Oh, okay, right, and went with this one.
Went with that one, but you're right. It does, so it will keep the other. It won't overwrite or set the other tags to nil or nothing. It just changes the title tag. But you are calling that method a second time.
Okay, well then if it doesn't clobber the previous one, and yeah, I was following the sort of maxim of just like if I wasn't sure, I would just remove it and see what happened, and as a kind of more. Less is more, but no, that's all. Feel free to add that back in.
Okay.
Go on, Michael.
That says unless not, right?
Yeah, so could this say if instead?
Sure.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. There we go. If you feel you're having trouble, Michael, entering the conversation, the chat environment is a good one. Because that, at least for me, that would like pop up, and I would see it generally. Let's at least try that. I know I talk endlessly. I'm working on that. So yeah, well, please do add that back in. And the only other question I had for you, normally actually maybe you've answered already in here was, all right, you've got a right. So I hadn't actually had a chance to read this yet. Yeah, so but I guess this bit makes sense, right, Norm, that we can now get it all working with this.
Yeah. I didn't know about that tag. I was basically, the solution you had was exactly what I was trying.
Right.
I tried it with the after filter.
Sure. Yes, and I, in fact, I hadn't seen this before. It was, but I sort of sometimes like if you review the video that we went through it in, sometimes I find that I can only work out the solution to the problem if I kind of actively experience the problem myself, and then I start to flail around, and then I kind of can make progress. Yeah. Okay. So this one. Okay. Right. So you identified that this step was actually without teeth. It was not correctly identifying the description, and then, but this is an underlying capybara method, is it not?
No, there's a have title. You can do page.title, but you can't do page.description.
Oh, okay.
At least that's what I was experiencing.
It's probably an RSpec method, right? It has. There's a matcher in RSpec.
Yeah, like you would expect. But I would have thought then, if that was the case, that you didn't have a has description question mark, then it would throw an error if we tried to run the test.
Right. Yep.
But
nobody was using that test. Nobody was using that step.
Right. It looks like that was sort of hanging around and it wasn't actually being called. Okay.
Correct.
Yep. Fair enough. So that looks like that's a good. Well, thank you for tightening that up. Excellent. Right. So yeah, we were checking the titles, but not the descriptions. And now, okay, in there, and that's the organization's index page. Yes. Good. And what you could feel free to do is maybe throw in a couple of other tests here, because like I think the story is related to making sure that every page is tested. So that I wonder if there are any other corner cases. I mean, up to you.
Yeah, I didn't know what would be appropriate, I guess, for corner cases or
Well, I guess any of the other controllers would probably be completely reasonable things. Okay. So if we just let's have a little. I can't remember what else we've got in there. What the other things that would even be? I guess actually most of the other ones are not exposing things that this is really all for the search engines, isn't it? But so that we've got static pages, we've got I mean, I guess it's anything like, I mean, the organization index page is one, but I guess like in here, below, I've lost it now. Come back. No, have I lost it? Completely lost it. I'll go back here again. Finish the screen. What was I going to say? I was going to say the like the volunteer opportunities index page. So we've got the organizations index page there. So that's obviously one corner case that was previously not necessarily covered. And we've got the 2 examples of show organization and show volunteers. And then we've got 3 static pages there. And then there's, you know, volunteer ops index page would be in a kind of another key, that sort of probably kind of that a key one, really, I would say, because that's also we've got an upcoming feature to turn that into the landing page for the main site. So yeah, that would be great to have in there. All right, yeah. So I think we're all good. You can make those last few things, and we'll get that pull request pulled in.
Okay, sounds good.
Fantastic. All right. I guess what I was about to do is about to run an async vote. I guess since we've actually got 3 of us, we could be doing live votes, but I kind of want to be using the. I'm kind of thinking like I should be getting more voting done. Actually, this is an input that I've got one that's just looking at things to be fixed. I think I'm just going to start I'll let you go if you need to go, Norm. Or do you have any other questions or thoughts or concerns?
No, that was it. I just figured since you guys, I saw you pull it up on the Pivotal Tracker. I was following on YouTube.
Right.
Been real quick and comment.
Yeah, it's good to get that all sorted. Obviously, there was some. Yeah, well, this is how Agile Ventures is supposed to work. Is this, you know, open plan office for the world? People can just drop in when they need and get things sorted. I think what I will do. Yeah. So well, thanks so much for your submission. Really appreciate that. And yeah, thanks again.
Yeah, thanks. All right, I'm checking out. Bye.
All right, bye for now. Take care. So this is, I'm going to do this like, let's pop that in there. Still getting email as sent on develop. But what I kind of want with the vote is to be able to kind of do that and fire and forget, and then, you know, not slow us down too much. Yeah, so actually the project board is in reasonable shape, and it takes us to the pull requests are the key things. So the key things are these 2 pull requests. We've got one from Anar and Marcelo, and they are both. So I think we can kind of ignore. Obviously, there's some failures there. We'll check out develop git stash. And then let's get fetch all in the background. So they have actually both got relatively minor, in the scheme of things, refactoring things. Anar has got this. I've given him feedback once. He's also got feedback from Marowen. Actually, there. I think what I also want to do is I want to go into the Agile Ventures Premium channel, and I want to highlight. Because I don't know if this is like people are going to hate me for it. Just wanted to highlight new AV mentor Marowen, whose contributions to sports site 1 and Ostra. And here helping out other premium I don't know if I'll just be basically kind of embarrassing people, and they will hate me and want to run away. But then I'm kind of like, I want, you know, people to be. I think there's all this fantastic learning that's going on here when people are interacting in PRs. And anyway, so this was all about, I think, a code climate comment on one of our methods being complex.
I think I don't do enough code reviews for people.
There's always room for more. Well, I think it's an interesting question, isn't it, about balancing one's time doing that versus other things. I guess in the bigger picture, I feel like I'm starting to form in my mind, which I'm putting down into these Agile Ventures documents, which Pat's been helping on, is this idea about, like what we just did now, like, well, let me back up. It's easy to say oh, here's a thing, we'll choose a feature to work on that feature, get it done, go away. There's kind of, to the extent that, one wants to do the whole Agile team thing, then kind of, updating the board, reviewing the board, and then kind of, it would be simpler if we were like all full time on this. We started to do this at Makers Academy. It's just, coming in, first thing you do, you review all the open pull requests, and even if you don't spend very long on them, give comments and so on. Because there's, it's sort of that sort of makes sense with people having limited amounts of time slices here and there. You could end up spending all your time reviewing pull requests and none of it doing coding, which would be, I don't know, but so I think this was like code climate. There was a complexity issue for this org owner method.
I mean, did you want me to do more pull request reviews, or?
Oh, well, I think certainly Agile Ventures will benefit from you doing pull request reviews. I think potentially you will benefit from them, but I think only do them if you feel so inspired and motivated to do them. I think
versus writing code.
Well, I mean, I think that's up to you. I mean, I think every pull request review is potentially very valuable. I mean, I'm kind of like, we could be, of course, off focusing on doing some coding ourselves now.
Right.
Having these two outstanding PRs from premium members means I'm sort of nervous about the time. But yeah, I mean, you put in a lot of time, so I think, and it's your time to put in, and I think adjust so that you get the maximum benefit trade-off against longevity and sustainability for Agile Ventures. It's difficult to know what I'm talking about sometimes, really. But so I think this is an interesting. I made some sort of suggestions.
So what is this feature supposed to do?
Well, so it's a refactoring ticket. What would be nice would be to look. I've got to pull it out and then look at it side by side. It's almost impossible to see it in this setup. If I now do git check out this, and I do git pull anar this, I should have the latest. Oh, good God. Really? Okay, hopefully that's going to be the same thing as what he has. And then I can boom, boom, git compare with branch, develop a bit at the top. Okay. So it's basically about here. This was the setup as was. It was this particular method that was tripping a high ABC complexity score.
Okay.
So we had a refactoring ticket for sorting out this method. And so what Anar has done in a series of stages is now, the method is now much shorter. It's now this.
There's something called can edit.
Yeah, which, I mean, I suggested that we should be reusing existing functionality on the user model, and Marouane pointed out this specific methods. And I mean, I guess at the moment we have can edit corresponds to being that, we there's only one organizer. So sorry, what were you going to say?
I noticed that super admin went away.
I noticed that as well, and I commented to
comment itself says super admin.
Yeah, and he said, Anar, that the candidate contains the super admin.
Oh.
So, that's not unreasonable.
Okay.
That simplifies that method. So I think this was good. The thing that then concerned me slightly was, so we've got these two different things. We've got set organization, which only happens on new and create, and we've got authorized, which happens on everything except search, show, and index.
Mhm.
So do they precisely overlap? So authorize happens on new, create, edit, update. Okay, so authorize is happening on all of these, and set organization is happening on these two.
Well, new and create, it's happening with both.
Right. Well, they're being called twice, although one imagines it should be idempotent. Yeah, that's message the bot, not me. Okay. But yeah, so what I was worried at was that we would be, the way in which this authorize thing, which is all of these, had a more sophisticated way of kind of working out if there's going to be at least previously that comes through the org owner. It kind of, I don't know, it's convoluted, and so it's checking one if there's a current user and there is an organization ID in the incoming parameters. Then let's see if that's similar to the user versus if the current user has an organization associated with themselves. Presumably this will work when there is no incoming organization ID, and in that case, let's find out based on the params ID if the volunteer op that we're interested in has the organization. There's like some sets of routes that are being used there. So set organization went from only working with organization ID to now it works with organization ID or params ID. And so the thing that I infer that's changed there is that the set organization has now been kind of upgraded. So the way in which we set the organization instance variable on new and create has now been like there's been a change in functionality, right? In principle, the organization, the at organization there,
right,
can be inferred from the the params ID. If there's an existing organization associated with the volunteer op, it could be filled in there. New doesn't use it. Maybe it uses it to display it, and new, whatever. So I think that probably doesn't have any significant side effect. And the tests are all passing. Go on.
Wait, can we go back through this again? So new and create, right?
Yeah, new and create.
Like we're trying. So new is going to set a form basically for the vol op,
right?
And how does it associate an organization with that vol op?
I mean, I think it's a nested route. So I think that
it's saying volop.new, which is just like an empty volop.
Yeah, this is like, so to create the new thing, it creates the volunteer op. But if you kind of do, I might be wrong about this, but if we kind of go to, and then if we're, or whatever, but if we go into some.
Maybe I'm asking too many questions.
Well, no, I think it's a perfectly reasonable question to ask. The interesting thing is so yeah, there's a nested route there.
Right.
I mean,
but how does it I just want to see the actual code that does that.
Right. Yeah. I guess the thing that might be erroneous is the way that I'm tackling the problem in the first place, which is that I'm trying to logically infer what these things are when maybe sensibly we should be working from acceptance tests.
So when you do a vol op, shoe and create set organization. So okay, so it's setting the organization. Now go down to set organization. Go down to set organization.
See, set organization has evolved from simply finding the organization from this :organization ID,
which is when you have
the nested route, I think.
the else is for the nested route.
No, I think the if is for the nested route.
Right, yeah. So in the event that you don't have the nested route,
Yeah.
then you just set up.
And that actually kind of, well, that particularly makes sense if you're doing edit and update in the situation of new and create when you don't yet have an organization.
Oh, it does.
Well, and actually, I think what it might do is it may actually allow it, like if that was in place, it would allow us to call like this. Like this will fail at the moment because it hasn't got any mechanism of working out the organization of the current user, right?
Mm-hmm. I mean, I don't think it does that in the code that he provides, but okay.
No. I mean, yeah, there may be other pieces, but I think it's like, anyway.
So I mean,
go on.
From what I'm seeing here, I'm not sure what you just keep moving around, so I don't know. I can't focus on.
Yeah.
Wait.
Well, we come back to this spoon issue. I was assuming that you'd be able to carry on talking with me looking at this different thing. I can move this over here if you want to. If you need to carry on looking at this bit of code in order to finish your thought.
So that organization goes on to your laptop. Right. So I guess my question is, oh right, that's what the friendly is like by name, right?
Yeah.
That's like the slug name.
Right.
So it's setting up the org, basically, in that set org.
Mm-hmm.
When it comes in through the nested route, it's setting it up.
Mm-hmm.
So then somewhere in the form, I assume that it's rendering the correct information to be sent back. I assume in the new vol-out form.
Yeah, like here.
Some kind of field somewhere.
Well, I think there's no field in as much as like if we were to submit this form, the root would then contain this would be set to organization ID, right?
Okay. Yeah.
So, and then that would come in here in create, and basically because for create we would have already called set organization. So set organization, I mean, as was, this extracts the organization from the nested route.
Yeah.
And then it gets set here.
So the new change is to do what? It's to.
Well, I think that so he's done a refactoring. It's also made a change in so ideally a refactoring does not change the functionality, right?
Yeah.
I think a side effect of the change that he's made is that now, because set organization is more powerful than it was before, for both new and create, the organization instance variable could be set in the absence of this organization ID that we would come in through the nested route.
I mean, for new and create, I mean, it's not, that logic isn't there, but okay.
Well, yeah, and I guess the issue there is like, I can see quite clearly in my mind that some new functionality has been added. I think it won't actually allow the thing that I was describing there because I don't think we have the root for it, right? Like, I think, that 404 that I get is because volunteer ops /new if we try and do it, just won't be there. But if we had the root for it,
Mm-hmm.
the root in combination with this functionality would allow that route to work. And this is what we would like, say that we had a story that was like, allow the person to create a volunteer op, without having to first go to their organization page, right? Then this is a piece of the puzzle that would allow that to work.
I mean, I don't really see it because the vol op already has to have an org associated with it.
Not when you're in the process of creating it, right? At this point, when we're doing new, we're creating volunteer op new. We create like an empty volunteer op, right?
Right. But the for the ad organization to have anything meaningful, it has to have, for that clause that you're talking about, that else clause.
This one here,
as it's written right now, yeah. The ad organization,
right?
If there's no associated organization, it'll just be nil.
No, it will. Right. Sorry, I was mistaken, and I was thinking that this would be like, okay. So the thing that it would need to do what I was saying is it would have to be this.
Yeah, it would have to have something like that.
Right. Okay. Yeah. So I'm mistaken in connecting it to there. Yeah. So to this only makes sense in the case of a volunteer op having an existing organization, which is what we would have in these cases.
So what was setting it up before?
Well, it's this. I mean, the point is that the set organization and authorize are two separate. That in the past.
Right. I mean, so what the set organization is, right?
Yeah.
This at organization equals vol op fine organization. That's like for when you're viewing an existing org, right? Or an existing vol op. Like that vol op, for that to have any
right.
to do anything, the vol op has to exist. It probably has to like have been persistent in the database, right? Otherwise, it'll just be
for this to be non-nil.
Yeah, for that to have like any actual functionality. So
Yeah.
like the case for that is when it's a show or something like that. So I'm guessing. I just want to know why that's there.
Well, I think this is here because we've got this.
And what is that commented out stuff?
No, I think that this was how he was doing it. So what we've got is these two things. We've got the authorize method and the set organization method. Yeah. So initially, authorize was not setting any instance variables, as far as I know, right? And it was basically checking, is the current user the owner of the the organization that either we have the owner of the organization either that's specified in the nested route or is already associated with the volunteer op. I mean, I'm even surprised. I'm not sure what circumstance you would have where you wouldn't have the nested route, but maybe that's not even needed.
So I guess like the authorize only exists on new and create, right?
The authorize exists actually on new, create, edit. That is it. Authorize. If we focus on
like the stuff that changes stuff, right?
Authorize is all of these, yeah, the stuff that changes stuff, right? All these 5, these all have authorize on them, and before the refactoring, authorize is on these 5, and set organization is on these 2, right? Is that right? Sorry, I might be wrong there. Was it set organization is on only only new and create.
So I guess the thing is like for say that we're editing an org.
Yeah.
All up, right? Because it's a before action, the authorize is that, I guess that's why we have to set the before authorize has to have that organization set.
Well, it needs to know the organization, but it doesn't have to set the instance variable organization. So in order for the authorization to take place, it needs
Right.
to.
So before it was just looking at the incoming param, right?
Incoming params, and it would infer organization from them in some.
Now it's relying on the set instance
So
variable.
that's the thing, is that now, like, in order to shorten this out, what Anar has done is he's pulled some of the functionality out of this org owner method and into set organization.
To set the at org.
Right.
And-
And so that means that the way in which at organization is being set is different from before, and that affects a much and so now that setting of organization ends up being potentially slightly different from for new and create, although I think the roots don't even allow us to get into new and create without having the params organization ID set. So it's somewhat academic.
Right.
I'm just going to look at the roots file.
And also, it's interesting that the authorize now calls
set organization.
set organization
So it gets called twice.
indirectly through org owner, which then sets up an instance variable.
Right. And so that's
side effects.
Say again.
It kind of has those side effects of setting up instance variables and stuff.
Right. Which made me a little nervous.
Right.
So yeah, we have this thing here with volunteer ops. So we've got the resources set up so that now this is interesting. So we've got it set up that the volunteer ops can be okay. So we have only new and create are nested, while index, edit, show, update, and destroy are all kind of bare, so to speak.
Hit them straight up without.
Right.
Which makes sense, right? Because.
Yes. I mean, yeah. In as much as we kind of want to insist that a volunteer op is associated with the organization,
right? And the other, we want to insist when you're creating, when you're creating a volunteer op, you tell us what organization it's associated with.
Yeah.
Whereas if you just want to see a volunteer op or edit one,
you
kind of already know what
already
exists.
So I mean, this is, I think it's doing loads for helping us, if we needed help, in reminding us of how the local support ecosystem is kind of working here. Does this lost my? No, it is there.
So I guess the question is, does this actually add any value?
Well,
are we just?
Well, the ticket is about currently our code climate score is reduced by this overly complex method.
Right. I mean, putting aside whether one should actually address every code climate issue, is this particular refactoring actually?
Well, I would argue that, yeah, I mean, it's certainly not every code climate issue needs to be addressed. I think this convoluted method is difficult to understand and maintain. And I think that the question that we ask is, has the refactoring made it easier to understand? And I think if we look at this method is a lot easier to understand. However, go on.
That's kind of true. Yeah.
Yeah. However, I think we've, I mean, it's sort of a trivial thing, but we've changed the underlying functionality slightly as part of the refactoring. Although we can argue, well, all of the existing tests are passing, I think. Yeah. And the code climate is saying it's happy. So we could kind of leave it there and just say, well, that was an improvement and let's move on.
I could envision it, instead of changing the set organization like that,
right,
just change the can edit to take the slug as an option. And then it basically does what's online below that if params, right?
Mm.
It compares current users org to the org.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the thing is that the org owner needs this bit, right? Like this bit of functionality, this is required for this set of operations here, right?
For which set?
The ones, well, in particular, for these ones.
Like, okay. Can you go back to it again? Which one you're talking about?
So, like in the situation when we're in the nested route, we do this, right?
Yeah. Otherwise, we do.
And if we're not in the nested route, then we do this.
Right, but my point kind of is that I think in the controller, we actually set those orgs up anyway. Right?
Yeah, well, no, my point is not that we need the instance variable, it's that we need to, in order to ask if the current user is the org owner, we need to find out the org, right?
Right.
So, I mean, you seem to be saying like, oh, well, let's just replace
well, we don't.
This
I mean,
with this, and this will be insufficient because that will only work then for the nested routes, but it won't work for the non-nested routes. So, I mean, the kind of the other approach, and this is, I think, what he was also doing, is like if rather than set organization, if this is find org, if we have this,
well, then we just do the other way, right?
I'm not sure what the other way is.
I guess it just comes down to we're shuffling that into the. We'd just be shuffling most of that logic in the method and the model, and then complain about it there.
Yeah,
like the other else is basically taking care of that. In the what's being deleted, but anyway.
Yeah, right. So this is this corresponds to the nested routes, and this is the non-nested routes.
Yeah.
So, and I guess what we've got is the refactoring that kind of that does this, right? That maybe Code Climate is happy with. That's like one refactoring. This would ensure that if it was like this, right, it doesn't mess with the instance variables, right?
Yeah.
And so, but I think what Anar's done is he's seen like, oh, well, there's an exact parallel here, right? So he wants to dry that out as well.
And I think that could be dangerous.
And that's exactly that was my point. Interestingly, that looking at this now, well, like, yeah. I mean, for the non-nested routes, we want that to run I mean, I guess what it is by having it introduced that into set org, but the only thing that it does, like I say, it ends up being relatively harmless in that the change in underlying functionality, because set organization, apart from it's being run twice, which we don't necessarily need, is it means that, we've got, in the absence of this, it's a code path that due to our current routes would currently not run.
I mean, I think we shouldn't be setting the @org as a side
as part of the authorize.
And I think maybe for well, I guess the find org could just actually see whether @org is set, right? But that's kind of an optimization instead of running these queries over and over again. Because we're hitting the database every time we run this query, right? Unless it's cached.
Yeah, I mean, the find org could be, it could be this, couldn't it?
Something like that, I think.
Yeah, and this one could actually revert to where it. Yeah, it doesn't even need that because we've set it up so it's only called in those things. So
So do you want to give him feedback now, or?
yeah, well, I think what I'm tempted to do. I mean, he's written quite a. I mean, I was sort of. He's been doing something similar to what we've been doing, and has had kind of a look at all the different methods and is trying to understand what's going on. And he's asking for like data model diagrams of the project, which would be a useful thing for him to have. I am thinking, yeah. I mean, I think if this runs here.
Sorry for dragging it out.
No, I mean, I was clearly mistaken in one part of my thing, and I think we've both got we've landed at least on a kind of agreed understanding about it.
Yeah.
And we recorded it, and for use for the world to enjoy. Now, what I'm not sure is, do I just run the whole? I guess I just run the whole test suite there. Can I do something more specific? This is specifically for volunteers, isn't it? So I should be able to focus in on volunteer opportunities and just run. Let's run the whole set of volunteer opportunities and see if that's green.
I think it's kind of interesting with having other people pick through your code.
Yes,
Yeah.
I think there's a lot of potential value there.
It's kind of interesting because like when we were writing the code, like a year or 2 years ago or whatever, a lot of us that were on the project were intimately knowledgeable about about it because we were working a lot on it, like all the time. Like when you kind of get intimately knowledgeable about it, you kind of can be like sloppier and still productive, I guess, is like you kind of know like where the sharp edges are.
Yes.
But then I guess unless the same group of people work on the same project forever.
Yeah. Well, I think it's very valuable to have others, to see other people coming in and what they suspect. Okay. So that's interesting. So we've got a situation here where we're coming into like volunteer ops action new, and the organization ID is shy. And I sort of assume in this case that set organization would have been called and we'd have found at organization.
Is it a matter of like when it's called, or
It probably is. It probably is because we've got
to use it before action.
We need this to come before the authorize.
Yeah. I just had that issue the other meeting.
Yeah, it does seem to follow the thing then, doesn't it?
Is it set now? Maybe. Hopefully.
Let's see. Yes, it is. Okay. Yeah, I mean, there's different. I mean, the interesting thing is doing this refactoring in the absence of
a test.
Yeah, I mean, like I kind of pushing myself to want to. I know that's green.
Look at what the features are.
Yeah, and then it's we kind of analyzed it by kind of going more the domain model side of trying to logically see what's going on. I mean, I'm sort of. This seems like a reasonable org owner. It's like we're asking. I mean, it's although then it's I can edit under the hood.
I mean, our acceptance tests on local support are actually pretty good.
Yeah,
they're actually really, really quite good.
I think better than website one for starters. Well, I like to think, but maybe I'm wrong. Oops, don't do that again.
And actually, John had said that he enjoys working on it because of
Right.
the test suite kind
Right.
of up, unlike his job
Right.
where they like didn't bother writing tests.
No. Well, I think the interesting thing is as well here is that like once we'd got into it, we were able to identify as like, okay, right, this is the one for the not nested route, and this is for the nested route. And that armed with that information, of course, even having refactored it out, that's still not explicit, is it? I mean, I don't know, or maybe we don't even need to make that explicit. I mean, this one, I'm liking these method names, yes. The find org here, it's kind of, this is like that complexity about the routes is being concealed here,
right,
under this find org thing. And we although we kind of we've done the letter of the thing, we've made this less convoluted.
Yeah,
we haven't like adjusted the terminology of the method names or what have you to make it clear why.
what would we change that to?
Yeah, I'm not sure. There's kind of, I mean, the funny thing is that this is like almost I'd almost be tempted to take this and say that this is kind of like
I mean, it's basically if you're in the nested route, right?
Yeah.
Set org has set the at org, right?
Yeah, and I wonder here if this is like it's kind of like get organization or
vol up
plain. I mean, I like this is. I'm not saying this is the right thing to do. It's almost like that. There's almost a desire in me to kind of want to do it like this, and say. Like this, yeah, and then you see what I'm doing there, and then I think plain is like at least that kind of gives people the hint of why there are these two ways.
So get organization for simple route,
Mm-hmm.
right? Get organization for nested route. That organization, or so what you could do is you could have a third method.
Mm-hmm.
Organization set for nested route, question mark.
Okay, but that would just be checked. So, okay.
It would just return at organization, so it would kind of surface. Just, you know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah, you know, I hear what you're saying. That's interesting idea.
Organization set for nested route, question mark, and then it just returns that, and you plop that in there, and then it kind of makes it explicit.
So this can kind of be this is like almost get org independent of route.
Yeah, I guess that's a good description of it. Though it kind of makes your domain now tied to the fact that you're in Rails.
Yeah, but we're in a controller.
I think it's allowable because you're in a controller.
We're in a controller, exactly.
So it's kind of like, how the hell can you be independent of Rails in the controller?
Right.
I mean, I think that's a pretty good
factoring,
I guess.
Well, I think it's interesting, isn't it? I mean, it's kind of we've got a chance here with this that we are, you know, that we might like we can obviously have like ask Anna to watch the video. We could like write a load of stuff out. Like maybe there's a fighting chance that Anna or indeed somebody else in the future from this can kind of see that. I mean, it almost, for the complexity there, it almost makes me think that maybe we should insist on the thing being like a nested route for those other situations. Like it feels like this complexity is here. Well, anyway, but yeah, we've clearly spent enough time on it.
I feel like that would require a lot of changes elsewhere.
Yeah, no, that's true. That's true. I mean, I guess if we're going to unpack this thing and we're going to do it in a way that explains why this complexity is here, then this is a.
Do you want to push that and propose it as?
Yeah, I think I do. I was just gonna save it and check that it passes the tests. I guess the other thing is I think about, like I mean, that's the whole model for Agile Ventures is people paying, £10 or $15 a month to get priority code review. Like in terms of the resources that we've put into giving this, it's like it doesn't quite add up. At the same time, the model is that Agile Ventures is we're doing this on something that provides value to Rachel and everybody in it. Sort of we're growing the learning resource. Anyway, let's have a quick. We've got like another 10 minutes to the scrum. So this is.
I mean, you're kind of like.
Go on.
People buy the £10 a month membership, they'll also probably stick around more.
Yeah. That's certainly the hope.
So it's kind of like it's a lost leader.
Yeah, that's true. It's true. Well, and I want people to. So we've got to this other. So if we just quickly look at this one from Marcelo, and
did you push that change, or
I'm running the test to make sure that the change isn't broken, and then I'll push it up into the thing and then add a comment for Anar. I just thought while the tests are running, we might look at this other one, which I think is relatively straightforward. He has. So this is another refactoring. This is based on. Am I looking at this in split mode? He's added to the user model the thing to get the super admin emails, fair enough. And he has changed this. Yeah. And it's broken for some reason. But I mean, he's at the moment there, he's setting up. Okay, he's split that out so it's a mailing, and then we can call deliver now on it. Okay. Is this? Okay, we've got a coverage decrease because he's added a method that I think he's not calling. So I think that the idea is that here, rather than like this should now be user class, and that should just say superadmins _ email. So okay, well that's all green here. I don't know if I've got push rights to Anar's thing.
probably not.
Although it's actually simpler to, I guess. What have I got?
Tell them to pull it.
Yeah, either way. So I'm going to git commits -am.
Push it to the
Alternative. Yeah, I mean, I kind of got permission from Norm to push stuff back to his thing. This is alternative refactoring. Fewer side effects. And then git push origin. Yeah, I guess the less aggressive thing to do is to pop that onto the origin and do hob pull request -b develop. So this is refactoring org method. I mean, I was suggesting that it should be pulled into the user model, and I guess we've used an existing user model method to do that. Yeah, I still like them as a current user. So this is addresses. And do we have to have? Say again.
I said there's a scrum in 9 minutes.
There is, yeah.
And then will you be available after that, or?
I'm planning to do some more work on after that. I'd like to move on from refactoring tickets and actually do some coding, but let's see where we get to. So this is the one, yeah. Right, and so I guess what we also want in here is this tricksy little format, not down there, or I have to say finishes. I mean, although I think that's the right way to do it. The waffle is so much easier. Okay, so we have that. Oh crap! An origin is the what? Remote minus v. I haven't got origin set up to Tansaku, have I? Oh, I've got the. Oh, oh Christ! It's put the pull request into the upstream.
What?
Yeah, it's kind of treating it as the fork. So the pull request has kind of gone to the wrong place.
Oh, it's one to yours.
It's onto mine because of the upstream relationship, which I don't want. That's annoying. I think I have to delete that Tansaku. What's it? What? Yeah, okay, no, that makes sense. Yeah. I go here. Can I? So I end up with this pull request. Can I now edit this pull request to? I'm just going to edit that. Yo. What I want to do.
Or just close it.
I will. But the critical thing is that I want to get a pull request in here from the particular branch. So the branch. I wish this would be ordered by most recent. What have we just done? This is like 132. Oh, it's alphabetical. 132. Here's that one.
You should get around to deleting those branches.
Oh yeah, I'm doing it more aggressively on the. So, but from here, oh, that's the problem is this is the setup here for pull requests is that it's got an existing. That's his branch. What?
So, where is his pull request coming from? His repo, right?
I assume it's coming from his repo.
Can you look at it? Look at the.
Yeah, I'm looking at it. Yeah, yeah, it's coming from his repo.
Onto what? Agile Ventures?
Agile Ventures developed. Yeah, his stuff is all correct. I mean, I think for some reason here.
What is your upstream origin?
On my local machine, the origin is this one, and I have Tansaku as the upstream.
So push to origin.
Well, I have pushed it to origin, but I want to open a pull request so it's easy to see.
Okay. So click open pull request and then go through it.
I guess I have to. I was hoping to it automatically select the thing for me, but it's so base fork. I want to be Agile Ventures, and
this is the annoying part of this.
Yeah, but so there we go. So this is the thing with my changes on top of it. Yeah. So oh, maybe it doesn't even work in there, but okay. But so what I can do there is at least I can say.
Why is there all that other commits in there?
Well, this is like Anar has been working on this for several days, and he's been going backwards and forwards. on various things and this, that, and the other, and merging stuff in, and then this is just what I've done there. On top
Okay.
of it. I'll say hi Anna. Great questions. MTC and I just reviewed detail. We have an alternate or whatever. Also, you can see video. If we've been doing podcasts for the last 5 years, it would be in a different place. But anyway, now the other thing he's asking about is, do we have in our code base? And I want to look at code base. Do we have? I don't think we have the. I'll say we can use Rail Brody to generate
Wow.
model diagrams. You all right? You hear yourself?
No, I'm looking at the euro's pretty low right now.
Yeah.
$1.06 for €1. That's really low. It's like the lowest I've ever heard. Supposedly the referendum in Italy has tanked it.
Oh, okay.
Where they the prime minister, the president or something of Italy was trying to get the constitution changed to make it easier for him to put things through that would let them basically accelerate the EU.
Oh, okay.
And it was framed as like a rejection of the Euro Union. Those proposals that he tried to get through were rejected by referendum.
Okay. Interesting.
So people are saying that the Italians have said they don't like the EU. Now the Euro currency's tanked.
Interesting. Okay. Well, it's time for the scrum. On that note, down with Euro, up with scrum. See you in the scrum.